Aha! It's a great day to be a Golden Eagle. You're in the nest. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, Nate Wangler along Luke Schrock, and a new member joining us in the studio today, taking over for Tim McTighe, who had a bowling tournament this weekend. Our social media /stat /NBA knowledge extraordinaire, Ian Kauffman in the studio.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing all right.
Pretty good, man.
How are you doing?
Finally out of that polar vortex or whatever they called it.
It was cold.
It was
very cold.
I can feel my face again.
Yeah, you can.
It's so great.
I can walk across
It
campus.
feels like summer, doesn't it?
A little bit.
It does?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was ready to strip everything down when I ran outside today. I'm like, it feels great.
I saw it was about 37 degrees and thought, wow, it's spring.
Yep.
Feels great.
It's supposed to be like that tomorrow, too.
Love it.
Love it. Great.
Love it.
Got a lot to get to today in the show, so without any further ado, we'll get cracking. I wanted to start the show off today by giving a very basic piece of advice, but it's probably one of the most powerful pieces of advice anyone can ever hear. In life, it's not what you know, rather it's who you know. My grandpa told my dad this, who told me, because you don't have to know everything, it's the connections you make that are going to carry you through. Because there's always someone better. But as long as you know someone who knows the thing that you don't know, that's what's going to make you a better person. As Cornerstone men's basketball approaches tournament time, the ultimate question is, who's going to replace the All-Star? A couple years ago, McLaughlin graduating, Marquise Hatter hurt. Who's going to fill that void? Last year, it was Kyle Stegginga, Michael Bradshaw graduating. Okay, who's going to fill that void? This year, Slice is graduating. So who's the next man up? Costin, as I mentioned on my Player Spotlight show a little bit earlier this week, went down with a foot injury. But as irony goes, turns out he knew a guy. And this guy may very well be the missing piece of the puzzle next year for Cornerstone. But maybe even more importantly, he fits into the family-first West Michigan homegrown culture that is CU men's basketball. That coming up, but for now, let's get you your minute recap. CU women's basketball lost a pair of home games last week. First to Uno 74-59 before dropping their second game 69-49 against Rochester. Cornerstone men's basketball, on the other hand, picked up a pair of huge conference wins. First beating Rochester 89-70 before downing Uno 97-55. They're now 2 games up in first place in the WAC. And the men's distance melody relay team put up a score of 10-04-95 down in South Bend, which is currently tops in the entire NAIA, and that is your 1 minute recap. So there's a saying out there, right? The grass is always greener on the other side. If only I had that car, if only I had that wife, that body, that job, that money, that gift, right? Programs do the same thing. If only we had that guy, that money, that extra talented roster, that might get us over the hump. But we tend to miss the greatness that's right in front of us because we're not thankful for what we have. Earlier this year, Coach E was asked how important it is to recruit local guys through people that he knows and connections that he's made throughout his time here at Cornerstone. And in his infinite wisdom, his response spoke volumes. And it also goes to show it isn't what, rather it's who you know, that elevates this program from good to great. Here it is.
Well, you're right. We definitely like to recruit West Michigan. We've been very successful here. It's not an easy thing to do with, Aquinas, Hope, Calvin, Grand Valley, Davenport. So it's tough, but we really like homegrown guys in our program, and we've built our program on those kind of guys. And, Sam being one of them from Holland. of course, Kyle played at Holland Christian as well, and Christian Rodriguez from Godwin, Riley, Costin from Hudsonville, just on our current team. But, if you look back on past rosters, we've had a lot of players from West Michigan, and we just think it's a terrific area, area for basketball players, and we've been pretty successful recruiting players from West Michigan.
West Michigan produces some of the best basketball talent there is to offer. And while other programs, Uno, Rochester, Aquinas, the list goes on, look all around the nation for talent, Coach E's like, nah, we got the talent right here in West Michigan. You do know Kyle Stegenga received preferred walk-on looks at Michigan State. My guess is he probably would have played good minutes once they figured out just how good he was. Coach E said, okay, all right. Or you can come win a title at Cornerstone. And he left with a ring. Christian Rodriguez, a little bit late in the game, but nonetheless he received a preferred walk-on look at Michigan State. His relationship with Xavier Tillman goes back to when he was young. They practiced together. They played together. There was even talks at one point to get them all together at Grand Rapids Christian to see if they could go win a state title. But then the title at Godwin kind of threw a monkey wrench into all of that, and it didn't work out. Coach E goes, okay. He was already committed to Cornerstone. He goes, or you can stay here and be great. And that's what Crod did. Coach E didn't get that way by constantly lusting over out-of-state talent or big ego guy. Rather, he relied on his connections, who he knew, to get him the talent he needed. The next edition, graduated from Hudsonville, he knows Riley Costin, former Michigan walk-on Brent Hibbets. Now, guys, we talked about this before. Who's going to be that next guy up who's going to take Slice's spot? And I think this guy has the tools to do it.
Well, he definitely has the size and body. 6'8", I believe. Around 200 pounds. The guy has a great frame and also is able to act as a forward. That's something Cornerstone can really utilize. They can use him down low to help slice out. You have that nice two-man now, post presence, and he's able to shoot. This is a guy we're talking that scored not only from down low, but he also shot a three as well in the limited minutes he had with U of M.
Yeah, you look at him and you're just glad to have him on your team. He has connections with some guys. He played travel ball growing up with Riley Costin. He's just a great basketball player, and that's what we like to recruit here at Cornerstone. He's meshing with the guys. That's what they're doing right now. It's hard, really hard coming in mid-season when everyone's got their chemistry going, everyone knows their job, everyone does their job in practice, in game, before game, whatever that may be. And that's a huge part of success. So coming into a successful program that has a chemistry is tough. But he seems to be fitting. Guys like him. He's fitting in real nicely. So once the NAIA approves him, I see no problem with him coming on this year, and especially after Slice is gone, playing a big role next year as Cornerstone continues to try to be successful and dominate in the WAC.
And think about the IQ of this guy. Think about the guys that he's played against, right? Played against Mo. He played against Mitch McGarry. Mitch McGarry, who got drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder. If only he could lay off the weed, he probably would have made a successful NBA career. He helped them reach the 17 and 18 Sweet 16, the 18 Elite 8, the 18 Final Four, back-to-back Big Ten titles. But here's the thing that is awesome about this kid, because you know Coach E, he's not just going to recruit anyone to the program.
Right.
Good grades, didn't hit the blunt like McGarry, no legal trouble. No legal trouble like some other programs around the area. We won't mention any names. He transferred out, didn't work, Coach E finds out through who? Well, his connections. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And he says, okay, well, you can keep jumping around to D1 programs if you want. That won't recognize your talent. Or you can come win a title with guys that you've either played against, played with, and not just be good, but be special. Come home. Come be a part of the West Michigan family that is Cornerstone basketball.
Well, his name's already well established even within the high school game back when he played for Hudsonville in the OK Red Conference. This is just out of the long list of achievements he made in high school. This is just a few of the highlights. The Detroit Free Press Class A first team in 15 and 14, the Advanced All-Area West first team, the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan Class A All-State, and the Grand Rapids Press Class A Dream Team. That's some great things to put on your resume.
Yeah.
And Coach E had to have heard of him back in high school when Michigan and whoever else was recruiting him. So he already has a name established in West Michigan to begin with. So why not bring him aboard?
Right, and I think it's well established that the kid can play.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows that. There's no question about that. It's whether he fits. And I think that this next few months, especially this season, is going to be a telltale sign of next season and what he can bring to the table. I mean, looking at the team without Brent, like who's going to take Slice's place at the power forward or center position down low, or even in the mid-range game off the pick and roll. And right now, without him, it'd be pretty tough to see who would fit that bill. But with him, you look at a great guy that could easily step into the role that Slice so well. He did so well. So yeah.
And with him, you allow guys like Carter Knight to step out and play his game, his comfortable game, which is shooting threes.
Right.
That's why I like this pickup. And the other thing about Hibbets, too, that I guess really surprised me is a guy with a track record like that, who's played against multiple NBA players during his time at Michigan. Probably had to D up against two, mainly Mo and Mitch. The thing that surprised me most was he said, regardless of if he played, he wanted to come here. So you're always looking for a good character guy, and that's exactly who he is. But here's the thing that I really like. Yeah, you put him on the court. You're going to allow Carter to step out and play his comfortable game, which is taking threes. But the tough thing that is going to have to be seen is I almost have to wonder what's the big difference between Coach E and Coach Beeline. Are they different offenses? Do they run things differently? Different formations? Different... What's the differences? What are the similarities?
Right, and I think it's just a sheer difference of the pace of play in the NCAA versus our college game in the WAC conference in the NAIA. It's just a difference of talent, So in my opinion, it's basketball. It's similar, but it's also a different pace of play. So there's not going to be as much fast break as there would be in the NCAA, but it's still similar. You dump it down low to guys. You either find a guy on the open three, or you make something happen, put it back up to your point guard and make something happen, or go to the hole like Slice does so well.
Yeah.
So I think there's just similarities to the type of offense, but maybe not as quick pace as an NBA or NCAA type deal with Coach Beeline or an Izzo type guy.
Plus, he's already learning the system because he's already practicing with the team. So it's not like he's going to this thing fresh off. He's learning the system. He's in practices. He's learning that chemistry, and he's already giving him that head start into what's going to be Coach E's system.
And the game doesn't change. I mean, it's like, you're going to go to a different skate park, but you're still a skateboarder. You don't forget how to do it.
Right, exactly. And that's what my point. Like, basketball is basketball.
Right.
I mean, whether you're running the fast break more or you're not, I don't think we run the fast break as much as a Michigan or a Michigan State, but we still run a great offense that's centered around great players that move the ball well.
Yeah,
And
a little bit old school.
Right. I mean, when I think Cornerstone basketball, I think, San Antonio Spurs back when they had all those pieces. They passed the ball tons.
Mm-hmm.
They used all the shot clock and got a great shot out of every possession. That's how they won games. And that's exactly how we win games.
Yeah.
We go down there and we have a good trip every single time down the floor. And with Brent, I mean, it allows us to space the floor and find an open shot.
I actually drew that comparison. I think that was our last podcast. I drew the comparison between Greg Popovich and Coach E.
Yep.
Gets everyone to buy into the system. And every person that's on that team, whether you're a starter or otherwise, has a role. Everyone on that team has a role.
Right.
And so, can he find his niche? Can he find his role? The other question is, where do you put Kyle? Is Kyle still a starter? Because I think he's really come out of his shell and he's performed much better.
Right. I think they've found a great role for Kyle. I don't think it's going to change that much because no matter what Coach E does, the players seem to buy into what he's doing.
Yeah.
They seem to get what he's doing and how he's doing it, and no matter what we've changed, it seems we've found a way to win. Guys like winning. They buy into that.
And that's the sign of a good team. If you're willing to take a lesser role, not even a lesser role, but just a role that you don't want, but you do it in the direction of wanting to win and wanting to buy in
for the team,
right, then you're going to win championships.
Well, let's even look at the supporting cast. Any good team has to have some depth. Cornerstone has depth. Johnny Strube, who's been in and out of the rotation. Tyler Baker, he's had his spurts. And just on and on and on with different guys that can come into the system and just be a plug and chug in Coach E's philosophies and system.
How about Strube, though? Oh,
yeah.
Oh my! I mean, he came out of his shell, and just all the hours, all the extra time in the gym. He was always one of those guys that was putting in the extra work, and you waited, and I think he came off and he missed his first three that he took.
He did, yeah.
And it was like, oh, here we go again. But he has the best name for a PA announcer that there is out there. Strube! But outside of that, I mean, the guy really performed well.
Right, and I mean, I think when he misses first shot, it stinks because you want to see a guy that's liked around campus make that first shot because of his limited minutes, and you want to see him do well because he's worked so hard. And I myself personally, I'm one of Johnny's good friends, and seeing him in the gym put in so much work and get so frustrated and be so determined to be great on this team, seeing him get good minutes and seeing him put up 13 and then get a block and then get 4 boards, the dude's working hard and it shows. So.
Well, he's got a great supporting cast around him. You mentioned that he's well liked on campus. You have to keep in mind that friend support group is essential when you're trying to work into a rotation, even as something as hard as Cornerstones.
Right, and I think it's the encouragement of his teammates. Everyone's bought in. That's what it is, and it doesn't matter who scores or who plays. Really, I mean, everyone's bought in. I don't think many people on this team have big egos. I think they're there to play. They're there to score and win games. I think everything else is secondary.
What did we say on the first podcast? Buy in to the winning system.
Yep.
Right.
If you buy in, you'll reap the benefits. And that's what they do. They find guys to buy into the system, and they end up winning games. Question: when was the last time that you saw an internal struggle between any of the guys? Drama, tweets, beef, fights, anyone yelling at anyone on the court except maybe Slice at some of the younger guys to get their head out of their rear end?
Right. I haven't seen any.
I haven't seen any.
Nope.
I mean, I think Slice yelling at someone is like a good thing.
Yeah.
And Coach E yelling at someone, good thing. They're gonna learn.
Knock it off. Yeah.
Right.
Get back in line.
Right.
Do what you need to do. it's flooring, and I could talk for the next 4 hours about our men's basketball team and how they managed to do this. But Brent Hibbets, another quality guy, West Michigan guy, welcome home. Let's go do this. On to the national segment. So right when you think the NFL is pulling away, oh wait, there's news. Kristaps Porzingas was called into the Knicks front office, and so surprisingly, I know everyone's going to be shocked by this, he said, listen, dog, I'm out. I'm done with this organization. It was fun. Gotta love the Big Apple. But it's come to a close. So, they made a trade. They made a big trade. Kristaps Porzingas ends up going to the Mavs, along with Courtney Lee. The Knicks, who did the Knicks end up receiving in that? Remind me.
Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and a few future first-round picks.
Okay. I knew everything besides Matthews.
Yep.
Here's the thing. In my mind, the big question of the day, my first big question of the day, is who won that trade? In my mind, both teams win in that trade. I think the Mavs hit a grand slam, but I think the Knicks situation is a little bit more complicated than some are willing to admit. Kristaps leaving, in my mind, was a lot like breaking up with that hot ex-girlfriend you used to have. You're great, honey, but I can't stand you. Here's why. So let me draw a few comparisons between your ex and the Knicks organization. Physical beauty. Your ex has got it going on. I mean, she's hot. She's a looker. The way that you hate to see her go, but wow, do you love to watch her leave. Okay? Right. Madison Square Garden is the Mecca. It's the heartbeat of the NBA. It's the center. It's the Big Apple, baby. It's the Mecca. James Harden recently played at the Gardens, and he goes, man, Madison Square Garden, that's something else. They don't even have to be good. Just the presence of being in that stadium is enough. Physical beauty, check. Your ex and the Knicks. Popularity. Man, you are the most popular dude around. High five, man. I didn't know you could do it. I didn't know you had it in you. All the girls look at you like, wow, he actually pulled that off. Who would have known? Popularity. All the best NBA beat writers in the NBA live in the Big Apple. It's New York. They got songs. You got pizza. You got the Trump Tower. You got the Fortune 500 companies. It's the Big Apple. Check. Your ex and the Knicks. Potential. Your ex. She's sweet. She loves kids. She wants to get married with you someday and run away and have a happy life. The Knicks. Young players. Cap space. Possible future leader in Dennis Smith Jr. Check. Your ex and the Knicks. Then one day, after the honeymoon stage has faded, you open your eyes and you go, whoa. Red flags, bullets that I was dodging are now hitting me square in the face. You have to sit Hun down and go, listen, babe, I love you. We got to talk about a few things. Here are some more comparisons. Bad parenting. Maybe mom enables. Maybe dad's had some issues. Maybe instead of constructive criticism, they turn to guilt. Or maybe they're just straight up not there. The Knicks. James Dolan is one word, and that's a liability. Since he took over in '99, the Knicks have one divisional crown, 6 playoffs, in 14 losing seasons. He is one of the richest, but one of the most underachieving owners in the history of the NBA. Your ex. Not many friends. Little controlling, little to her way, little manipulative. Lots of positive role models have come in and then ultimately left because of all the dysfunction. The Knicks, Melo, Porzingas, gone. Phil Jackson, fired. Former All-Stars fighting security guards because they can't stop yelling at the bench because of how dissatisfied they are with the whole thing. Check your Knicks and your ex. Can't manage money making their own decisions. They can't do it. The ex, shopping sprees, drinks with the girls, other things that have no redeemable value. The Knicks, cool, you got Dennis Smith Jr. Hey, you could have just drafted him, but instead you took Frank how do you pronounce it?
Ntilikina.
Okay, that guy. Yeah, they took that guy. Check
Out of France.
your ex and the Knicks. She has a bad reputation. People know who she's played. People tell you, dude, don't do it, man. Trust me. She's a little crazy, up in the head. You know, don't do it. I know you want to. It's really tempting. Don't do it. Stephen A. Smith recently said that it's his belief that Katie's agents are playing with the Knicks, saying he might come to New York. NBA players aren't stupid. My guess is they want to go to a place where they're going to win right away. And the only way the Knicks are going to get anyone good is by really, really overpaying them. Check the Knicks and your ex. And lastly, when she's finally out of your hair, when you finally break up and you're off into the clear, the whole thing starts all over again. New guy, same person, the cycle all over again. Get a free agent. History has shown the Knicks can't really handle it anyway. Check the Knicks and your ex. With Luka healthy, a healthy Kristaps, if he takes the qualifying offer and he only has to get paid $4.4 million next year, that allows them space to sign another big player on top of all the young pieces. Oh, and here's the other thing. Dallas has proven that they could win in the last 2 decades. I don't think, in my opinion, I know Dallas won this trade. You guys.
Well, first off, I got to note that the reason why Kristaps Porzingas left is because, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, he didn't buy into what the Knicks were wanting to do. Granted, they were wanting to trade him anyways. They've had trade talks about him anyways. They had a 5-minute meeting, guys. 5 minutes. And that's all it took for the Knicks organization to realize that Kristaps Porzingas wasn't happy with what was going on in New York. And here's some proof. ESPN's Ian Begley talked to the president of the Knicks, Steve Mills. And he was quoted saying, "We feel like we did the right thing. When you try to think about how you want to build your team for the long term, you don't want to commit to a max contract to a player who clearly says to you he doesn't want to be here. That won't be a disservice for our organization and a disservice to our fans."
It's pretty smart.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So it's I'm not saying it's a bad move. I'm not saying it's a good move. But when you get rid of your face of your franchise, there's gotta be a lot going on in the background for that to happen.
I mean, okay, the NBA's business. Everyone gets too caught up in headlines and blah, blah, blah. It's a business. The guy, Kristaps Porzingas, was hated since draft night. People don't realize.
Tingus Pingus.
People don't realize he was booed on draft night.
Yeah.
Everyone doubted his ability since day one.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, New York's buying his jerseys off the racks. He had one of the highest jersey sales his rookie year.
Yeah.
The kid showed he could put up 14 points per game in his first season, then 18 points per game in the second. In his third season, 22.7 points per game. So he got better every single season. And the Knicks were like, oh yeah, we love this guy. We were with him since... No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You took him on draft night.
Yep.
You posted pictures and videos on social media and crapped on this guy. And so obviously he's not very satisfied from day one. He wanted to prove everyone wrong. He wanted to prove his own fans wrong.
Yeah.
The fans of his team, that is, the Knicks. So, can you blame him for being dissatisfied with the Knicks? No. Exactly. I mean, they haven't made moves. They're banking on Kevin Durant, who I don't see going. They're banking on Kyrie Irving. I don't see going. Who knows if they're going to get Zion? Right now, I don't think they're the highest in the lottery, so I don't think they're going to get Zion or RJ Barrett. What do? You got to try to do something. The guy doesn't want to be there. Get him out.
Yeah.
This can't be a situation where it's a Jimmy Butler situation. He requests a trade and then you don't give it to him and he's acting up in practice.
Yeah.
Or that's what the media made it sound like, he was acting up in practice.
That's the other thing. Expectations.
Right.
You're not just playing in a small town, small market. If you're playing for the Suns, you get a couple years to finally make a name for yourself. Maybe they'll turn into a pretty good team. If you play for the Knicks, gotta win. We gotta win now.
And the media's right there.
Right
Media's
there.
right there.
Literally across the street. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think it was a great trade for both teams. I honestly, at face value, when I saw this trade, I thought, good for New York. I don't like the Knicks. Not a fan. Not a fan of the front office either.
Yeah.
However, I think they did a good job in this trade. Why? I think they did a great job because they got both Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan. I think that's big. I think if
expiring contract, DeAndre Jordan.
Right. I'll give you that. That is a problem.
Yeah.
However, they got Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
If Dallas keeps one of those two guys, Dallas wins this trade outright.
Right.
But the fact that they got a guy that's putting up a double-double, you got a young stud point guard who is, granted, is not as good as a De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a rising star, and no one can put it past him. The dude's putting up almost 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game. The kid's good. He's working through an injury. He's in his second season, and last week he had his second career triple-double. The kid can play. So getting those pieces is huge for the Knicks.
And here's the thing. They have enough cap space to sign 2 max contract guys. 2 of them.
Adding on that, this move actually, I read up and looked at it, and they will have $75 million to work with.
Yeah,
75.
Yeah, 75. Here's
Wow.
the issue. Wow. Yes. First off, wow. Second off, everyone hates your owner. Number 1. And number 2, life is not a video game. Okay? If I'm doing franchise mode in 2K and I'm the Knicks, I can offer whoever I want, and they'll probably end up coming to my team because I paid them enough. But in real life, here's the thing. The NBA, it's a players' league. Players go where they want to go. You know who made that popular? LeBron James.
Followed by Kevin Durant.
Followed by Kevin Durant. I love the city. I love you guys. But I'm going to go where the leadership is strong, where the talent runs smoothly, and where I can win championships. That location in the past 2 decades has not been the New York Knicks. So I would like to imagine that the NBA All-Stars in this league wouldn't go, oh yeah, let's go to New York. Maybe that's the next step in my career. Maybe in the downfall, but
changes need to be made other than in the spectrum of players.
right.
Yes.
However, just talking about players, they've done a decent job in this trade. I mean, they've gotten DeAndre Jordan, Dennis Smith Jr., and a wing shooter in Wesley Matthews, who's averaging 13 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
They're expiring contracts with DeAndre Jordan and Wesley Matthews. That's a problem. They're creating a base for their team right now. Because as of before this trade, there was really no base to this team. Half Knicks fans didn't know who was playing.
Yeah.
They didn't know the names of the guys. What jerseys are they selling?
Yeah.
Is what I'm wondering. You know, but they have those guys to step in.
They're still selling Patrick Ewing jerseys.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Wow. And not to mention, we haven't mentioned this yet. They got 2 first-round picks. That's big, people. 2 first-round picks in the future is big.
That's why they said CBS came out with an article, and they said the Mavs hit a grand slam. The Knicks, they gave them a grade C. Now, the only reason why it's complicated, well, that's why, because it's complicated. Right. You're relying now on the Knicks to make smart decisions with not only all the cap space, but with 2 first-round draft picks. Can you trust the Knicks organization to make the right choices this time around?
Right, and the problem with the first-round picks is that they have to be used wisely. And the Knicks have not shown that they can do that with picks.
Well, we're all missing one detail, though. One of those first-round draft picks, that's already owed to somebody else. That's going somewhere else. So they're only really getting 1 first-round draft pick. I read this earlier. So one of those draft picks are owed by somebody else. So that has to go somewhere else.
Like a restricted first-round draft pick?
Yeah, it's a restricted first-round draft pick. Okay. And everybody's tiptoeing around that detail and forgetting all about that. And honestly, my full disclosed opinion, the Mavs win this trade on the short term. Mm-hmm. They get Kristaps Porzingas. He's good buddies with Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic. Luka and Porzingas worked out together overseas when he was rehabbing.
Yeah, the European connection. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So once again, who you know.
And I think, it's who you know. And I think European guys, and not to stereotype all European guys, they play a little bit more different.
They do play different.
Different than some of the blue-collar American basketball players.
Definitely.
Finesse, better shooters, more creative in the way that they play.
And the biggest thing to me is less ego.
Less ego. They want to win championships. They're not about the flash. I mean, Luka was a popular dude, but Luka was only a popular dude because he did great things, and he was a great guy.
Right.
But
I mean, the kid's 19.
Right.
Which is insane.
Yeah. Oh, and Mark Cuban is a winner, and that's just a fact. He is. And
he's rich for a reason.
Yeah, he's very rich. He's on Shark Tank for a reason, guys. You know what I mean? Come to him with a what you think is $1 million idea, he'll shove it right back in your face. And he has a ring to prove it. Next up on our national segment, the Lakers make their first offer to New Orleans to acquire Anthony Davis, and oh my, they went all in. But they left out one key guy, according to Ian. We'll be right back.
Commercial break.
Commercial break. Welcome back to the Nest. So, news today out of the NBA. The LA Lakers made their first official offer to New Orleans to try to acquire Anthony Davis. And here's how it goes. They offered Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, a first-round draft pick, Rajon Rondo, and Michael Beasley for Anthony Davis. This trade tells me two things. One, LA wants to win, and LA wants to win now. No more waiting. It's time. We've waited too long to be back in the national spotlight. This trade also tells me that they're trying to hang on to one valuable piece. Brandon Ingram. Do you guys think, A, do you guys think the Brow will end up in LA? And B, what does a good trade look like if you're the Los Angeles Lakers?
I think more in the summer. I don't think the Lakers want to get rid of all of their assets in order to get one player, because there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. You got Lonzo, who's the delegator. You got Kuzma, that's putting up big points recently. You don't want to get rid of two aspects of your game in order to get one guy that doesn't really fulfill all of it. You don't want to give away all of your young assets just to gain one superstar, which, don't get me wrong, superstars are the name of this league. But is it really worth it to give away a ton of assets, and even Rondo off the bench? Granted, he hasn't put up too awful much, but he's still a supporting factor off the bench. You don't want to give away all of that just for one superstar. That could kill you.
Is it worth it? Yeah. He's Anthony Davis. The kid has proven himself.
Yeah.
Proven himself on defense. He's
Mm-hmm.
one of the best rim protectors in this league.
Mm-hmm.
He's proven himself on offense. The kid racks up points and boards.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, this trade, in order for it to go through, which one are we doing first?
What do you mean?
Do I think that he's going to end up on the Lakers? Is that what we're doing first or second?
Where's the LeBron meter in your mind? Is he on his way to LA at some point?
I think it's going to get super close.
Because you know his dad just came out with a statement, right, that said he's not going to the Celtics.
Right, and I never thought he was going to the Celtics.
Right.
That's my opinion. Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of like the Paul George situation. I think everyone's going to think he's going somewhere. Everyone's think he's going to go to LA, and there's no real, like, headlines of any other team, and then it's going to be like, psych, I'm going somewhere else.
That's my gut feeling.
That's what I think. I think
the media is such a big tool. In ESPN specifically, when they get a storyline, they run with it.
Well, they blow it way out.
They blow it out of the water because that's what people want to hear. They want to hear about LeBron. They want to hear about Anthony Davis going to play with LeBron James. You do realize that Paul George wanted to play in LA his entire career. He's from LA.
Right.
He has family and friends in LA. And then LeBron goes to LA and Paul George goes, nah, bro, I'm staying here in OKC with my good buddy Russ. While it's shock to a lot of people's systems, but a lot of people also aren't willing to recognize the fact that while it would be great to play with the greatest of all time, or in my opinion, the greatest of all time, it might also be a little tough. Because you go from being the main actor to supporting cast. Doesn't matter who you are. Could that play a factor? I think so.
Yeah, I in my opinion, a lot of players are from LA.
Yeah.
A lot of people know that. And
Yeah.
just because you're from there
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're going to go there.
Right.
Paul George. Kawhi Leonard, another interesting topic for probably the summer.
Yeah.
But I, in my opinion, I'm not sold on the fact that all these players that are from there are going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that everyone's trying to build this team to have superstars on it to where, okay, LeBron doesn't have a great night.
Mm-hmm.
AD goes off. It's the same thing with the Warriors. Oh, Steph doesn't have a great game? Well, KD just dropped 55. So it doesn't matter at all.
The expectation was when Bron went to LA, not only is it Bron, but it's also one of the biggest markets, the second in terms of championships, best franchise in NBA history. Everyone thought everyone was going to jump on the Bron train. The one guy who I think might have a possibility of joining him again, it's Kyrie.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that.
I love that.
I like that possibility.
Me too. Yeah.
You know that there were parts of that phone conversation that he mentioned
Oh, of course.
that were not aired, that were not publicized. Like, hey, Bron, man, like,
You can't just say that, though.
you can't.
If you're Kyrie.
You can't, right. You can't give the media that piece of evidence because then they tamper with it, right. They give up on you.
Right.
That's why they took Anthony Davis out of the little intro video that they have in New Orleans. They hate him.
Yeah.
He wasn't even dressed. Right? They don't like the guy. I like the possibility of Kyrie doing it.
Yeah. I think it could happen.
Why not?
I think Magic Johnson's great. I think he's great, and if he strikes out in the Anthony Davis thing, because that will be a big strikeout,
Yeah.
I think he'll hit a grand slam this summer.
Somebody's coming.
Whether it's Kyrie or Clay or Kawhi,
Somebody's
I
coming.
don't think it matters.
Kobe
And
Bryant.
Magic will pull strings, and they'll have a contender.
Kobe Bryant's been on record. He goes, soon enough, the fans here in LA are going to be laughing at the fans in San Francisco. He just said he can't tell us specifically why. Does that mean we're getting a Warrior? Or does that mean one of these guys, specifically the guy that called up Bron and said, listen, I was a kid, I left you, I shouldn't have, please take me back. Someone eventually is going to come to LA. I just don't know if it's going to be LeBron the way that everyone continues to say that it's going to be.
I think it's hilarious that Kyrie grew up in a year and a half, 2 years. He grew a beard out, and all of a sudden he's wise. I think it's funny.
I think this was the year this is the only year where he finally came out and went, yeah, I was stupid. I went to Duke. I could have learned from Coach K. Left. Couldn't have left quicker. Got off the campus.
Sure.
Went to Cleveland. Was great. Got a chance to play a couple years with the King. Said, I'm out of here.
Got a ring.
Got a ring.
Right.
But got out of here. Wanted to do my own thing.
Right.
Went to Boston with a young team and went, whoa. A lot more to leading young guys
It's hard.
than simply just being talented. It's hard. And I'm not quite sure Boston's all in on Kyrie.
Yeah,
Listen, dude, we were one game away from the finals without you.
Exactly.
Why do we need you? I feel like there's some tension there as well.
It's hard with a talented core. It's hard with such deep players that could honestly start on a different team.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to take minutes off. And look at Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier. They're taking minutes off because Kyrie's there.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna step back. When we return, we're gonna give you our official Super Bowl predictions as well as one of the games we're gonna start playing here on the Nest podcast. You're probably gonna see it all the way around campus. It's gonna be a ride. We'll be right back. You are inside the Nest. What's going on, everybody? Nate Wangler from the Nest podcast, and listen, if you like professional sports and you love Cornerstone Sports, you're going to love what we have to offer on our podcast. Interviews, guest speakers, we break it all down for you. Every single top story from either around the community or around the nation. If you want to listen, make sure you subscribe at The Nest Podcast at YouTube. Again, that's The Nest Podcast, or on Twitter at The Nest GR. We're coming at you with a bunch of new content. You're not going to want to miss it. And we welcome you back to the Nest. You are inside the Nest. Nate Wangler, Luke Schrock, Ian Kauffman joining us today. So we have a game coming up tomorrow. Wasn't sure if you guys were aware. I thought I'd bring it up. It's a football game. American football.
Oh yeah, that's still going on.
Not
Yep.
soccer.
Nope. It's the one with pads. It's the one where the really old guy is playing the really young guy. Rugby. That's it. Rugby game.
Ah,
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
it.
So we're taking wagers. No, I'm kidding. It's a Super Bowl. It is the Super Bowl. I know the NBA. What?
all that to say.
All that
it's
to
the
say.
Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, it kind of disappeared off the face of the earth there for a second. You know, the NBA just kind of came out of nowhere and bam, just took over the spotlight again.
Trade rumors do that.
It will once the Super Bowl ends.
Oh, yeah.
It'll take over again.
Oh,
Something will
yeah.
happen.
Oh, yeah. Freaking NBA, man. Anyways. So Brady was asked a couple nights ago, and I watched this video. They go, "Hey, Tom, got any advice for Jared Goff? He's sitting right next to you." Tom looks into the camera, and he goes, "I'm not giving him any advice. Are you kidding me?" And he shoots a smile.
In my opinion, it's a stupid question.
It is
why
a
would he?
very,
Come on.
very stupid question. But in Brady's eyes, and he would never say this, right? Brady's not the type of guy to come out and be Mr. Cocky Pants. But he goes, he's taken down Colts. He's hunted Falcons. He's captured Seahawks. He's steamrolled Steelers. And he's bucked Rams. He's been to more Super Bowls than any other quarterback in the history of the NFL. And in terms of ending legacies, Tom Brady is the Reaper. Good luck with your new team, your new talented roster, the hip new head coach, Sean McVay. I'm taking the Pats. I think the Rams are a talented bunch with one of the funnest head coaches in football, but Brady and Belichick have been underdogs before, and it hasn't quite mattered. My final score, 31-28. The Pats win it the same way that they did last Super Bowl against the Rams. They hit a game-winning field goal, and they make it number 6.
Wow.
How poetic was that?
It was
Beautiful.
You know what I mean? I took, oh my gosh, I was like thinking about that this morning. I'm like, how can I illustrate that? But yeah, no, I think they're gonna win.
I'm taking the Pats
My
too.
hot take.
I'm going 35-25. Only because the Patriots, they're coming off a loss from last year with the Eagles and Nick Foles.
Mhm.
They got a fire underneath them, boys. They've had a little bit of troubles throughout the season, but they still made it back. So I think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the boys, they pull it off. They just have a history of doing this. So, I mean, I don't see it changing. The Rams are good, don't get me wrong. They have a good defensive line. They beat the success average of the league in their respective positions. But I just don't think they'll beat that offensive line.
Yeah. I guess I could take the Patriots, and I just can't. I
Was he
can't
going
take
bold?
the Patriots. I can't take them. Tom Brady's awesome. He's great. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
Uh-huh.
Actually, we can pretty much say it. He is the greatest
Definitively,
of all
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Pretty much definitively
Mhm.
at this point. I think. All right, I'm just gonna say my score and give a
Okay.
reason after.
All right.
I think it's 35-27 in favor of the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I think they start out hot. Tom Brady even rushes for a touchdown.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Really?
that is a hot take.
That is
I
bold,
think
man. That is
I will be bold today
Oh my
and
gosh.
say that I believe Tom Brady will even rush for a touchdown tomorrow.
Wow.
However, I think Sean McVay has plans. He has schemes. He has stuff in his back pocket no one knows about.
They're unorthodox.
They're weird.
That's
and
what makes 'em
people
good.
don't like weird.
Right.
They have crazy talent on that defense. Aaron Donald is a monster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard to contain him. I think that defense does well, especially in the second half. I think Jared Goff despite his young age, does well. Throwing to Brandon Cooks.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to pressure Tom.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. This is why I think Tom is just such a revolutionary quarterback. It doesn't take him more than 3 steps. It doesn't take him more than an NBA non-travel to get the ball out of his hands. 1, 2, 3, and it's out.
Yep.
You want to know why that offensive line is so good? They don't have to block for more than 2 seconds.
He gets it out quick.
Gets it out fast. And that's what NFL players say is, listen, you can beat Tom, but in order to beat Tom, you got to get to Tom first.
Which is hard.
It's darn near impossible.
Right. I don't think they're going to sack him a lot.
Oh, no.
I think they're going to disguise what they're doing with their safeties and their cornerbacks, and I think Tom's going to throw at least 2 picks in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to come down to the secondary and what they do. I mean, he gets the ball out fast and most of the time accurately. I think he'll do that in the first half easily. But when it comes down to it, I think their great secondary the Rams have is going to make a difference.
This is the game plan for the Rams defensively. They're not trying to sack Brady. Like what Nate said. He's 3 steps and out. He's a quick offensive player. Their goal is to make him take more than 3 steps. Their goal is to make him have to slow down a little bit, have to get out of his little comfort zone in the pocket. Let's face it, he's a pocket presence quarterback. You don't see him rolling out like a Patrick Mahomes or a Johnny Manziel back in the day, a few years ago, getting out of the pocket and making these crazy passes. If he does, it's once in a while. He lives in the pocket. You get him out of his little comfort zone there, granted you have to be quick. You got to get through that offensive line. It's been a successful offensive line. But if you get him to make a few more steps than he's used to, then you'll stop Brady.
Just because he's boring doesn't mean he's not great.
Exactly.
Everyone is like, he's not great because he's a system quarterback. Okay, well tell me what coach in the history of coaching ever doesn't have a system?
Right.
Is there ever any coach in your mind that at any level that doesn't have a system? No. I mean, just because he's boring, he still wins. You ever wonder why there's not a Patriot in the Pro Bowl? Because they're still playing, guys. That's why. Okay? So, that's my opinion. So, you are definitively the only man who's going with the Rams.
Right.
Because I have Tim's wager here. Tim says Pats 24-20.
Right.
So, we're all generally close football games here. But you are going with the Rams. Okay.
I mean, we're all safe except for Ian. Safe bets. Let's be honest.
Either that or we're all in danger except for Ian. But one way or the other.
I mean, if Tom Brady gets comfortable in that pocket and gets comfortable, simple as that, the Rams are in trouble.
Death by 1,000 cuts. That's how they do it.
Exactly.
And it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls, and I can definitively say this. I feel as if it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls we've seen, or that the league has seen, in many, many years. So here's the introduction you guys have all been waiting for. So we took our wagers. Here's the new thing we're doing. It's called the Dunce of the Day. I know all of you know what a dunce cap is. It's that big pointy cap that says dunce on it. It's meant to signify that you lost a bet, at least in this scenario. So what it is, if Ian wins and the Rams win, Ian gets to decide what me, Luke, and Tim get to wear to school the entire day the following day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We don't necessarily have to wear a dunce cap, but it will be known from what we're wearing that we are sincerely the dunces of the day.
Right.
Because we lost the bet. Same goes the other way around. If Ian loses and we win because we picked the Pats, we get to choose what Ian gets to wear the entire day that next day. Have any ideas? Make sure you leave a comment on our video and let us know what we should try to make the loser wear. Boys, any final thoughts, questions, reflections?
Wearing nothing is not an option.
Yes. I agree.
Oh.
Just want to point that out.
Are you telling me that specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some stipulations here. We still gotta keep this thing within limits.
What about a Speedo?
Has to be over shorts.
I like it.
Oh, that would hurt, man.
Hey, you shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, I guess. All right, guys, that'll do it for us today. Make sure you enjoy the games we got tomorrow. Actually, just one big game we got tomorrow. We will be right back here on Tuesday. Make sure you have yourself a very, very Golden Eagle day.